Coming up next, my recommendations for books to read if you want to learn more about perfume and the perfume industry. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. This is Joel the Nose, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit different video. Some people have asked me about what have I done to learn, or where can you learn more, or recommendations for books on perfume and fragrance and the whole industry. And I've been reading just so many different things, and I thought what I would do is compile a list of what my favorite, I think, books that are good from anyone from a beginner to maybe even someone who's been doing this even longer, or has been involved in this, fragrance industry or passion for a longer period of time. These are good books for, I think, for any level, whether it's a refresher course or whether it's just to learn about the industry more. So I'll just jump right into it. It's no particular order. I don't have a necessarily favorite, but I do have ones that I like to go back to, which are good refreshers and such. So let me just kind of jump right into it. These books right here, I'll go the first two, this one is by Jean-Claude Elena, the master perfumer. Okay, he used to be the in-house perfumer for Hermes for many years. And this is called The Diary of a Nose. And this is a good book that is, what he does is for a year, he goes through his impressions, and this came out in 2012 while he was still working for Hermes. Anyways, he goes through and basically talks about inspirations, and it's almost like a year-long diary, and each basically page is, or each section is like one page or two at length with the date that he wrote it. Like this one was written February 16, 2010, and he kind of just summarizes these. He talks about going from Paris to Grasse, so he goes through part of this as he's coming up with a new perfume. So it's very interesting if you want to get an inside glimpse of what a nose or a perfumer is thinking and doing and looking for inspiration and ideas. And Jean-Claude Elena, of course, is one of the giants in the industry. So this is a very good book. It's very easily readable. It's, I don't know, maybe, yeah, it's only about 150 pages. And by the way, at the end of the book, he actually lists different accords that he likes and summaries of smells and different things. So if you are interested in making your own, he gives you some very basic accords that you can do on your own. So it's kind of useful and helpful. So this is also a good resource. Next book, this is by Chandler Burr. He was the New York Times perfume or fragrance editor, or critic, I guess, scent critic as they called it. He wrote this, and this also came out in around, I believe it was 2007. So. And it's called The Perfect Scent, A Year Inside the Perfume Industry in Paris and New York. Again, very popular book, and he follows actually through a year-long, journey of two fragrances that are being created. One by Jean-Claude Elena for Hermes, and one by Sarah Jessica Parker. And for one of her fragrances. So it's very cool because you kind of see the two different worlds colliding of the design versus, Hermes is still a designer house. It's not really niche, but it's, a little bit of a different level than, say, the fragrance, the celebrity fragrance line. So again, very interesting book, very well written, really good insight on things from writing briefs to coming up with concepts for fragrance. Very interesting, very good read. So again, more about kind of the business and industry. Next book I'll go with here. This was written by Dr. Rachel Hertz. Okay? And this is called The Scent of Desire. This is one of my favorite books because I'm an attorney by trade. I love learning, I love reading, I love investigating and knowing what makes something. This book is written from a PhD, and she goes into the actual science behind the olfactory senses, the sense of smell, why we like certain smells, why we don't. She goes through a bunch of different psychological studies that are done. Very fascinating, and it's a quick read. Again, it's about 250 pages. Very good read. One of the most influential for me on understanding smell and a lot of things that I knew in my mind, or why I liked certain things, but I didn't know why. And once you read this, you're going to figure that out. So, excellent choice. Next one, I'll go back to Jean-Claude Elena. As you can see, there's a theme here. He's written a number of books. I like his books. This is called Perfume, the Alchemy of Scent. This is the one that I pretty much carry with me at all times. I always have books that I carry with me when I'm going anywhere because I like to read if I'm stopping in a coffee shop. This book is so short and simple. That's why I highly recommend it. It's like 100 pages, and it goes through the history of modern perfumery, talks about olfactory science, so it gets into a little bit of the science of sense and of smell. It talks about the classics of perfumery. It talks about the accords, the notes, the raw materials, marketing, modern marketing, niche perfume, designer perfume, it all in this short little book. So this is a book that I love to take, and I can reread it all the time. Again, Jean-Claude Elena, and this is actually a pretty recent book. It's one of the more recent ones that came out. This was actually, well, I take that back. I'm sorry. This was 2007, but it was 2016. It was one of the English versions. So highly recommend this book if you want to really just get a quick start, 100 pages or less. Next book. This is by Mandy Aftel. Some of you may know her. Okay, this is called The Essence in Alchemy, a Natural History of Perfume. Mandy is the world's foremost expert on natural perfumery. She does not do anything with synthetics whatsoever. This book, whether you like synthetics, don't like them, or just like naturals, this book is excellent because it's really goes through all the things from the base notes to the top notes, the heart notes, the mid notes. It goes to explains the reason behind them. The history goes way back hundreds of years in the history and the cultural and political things that were going on in smell and fragrance. And it really is just a deep dive into natural perfumery, but it's a basis that I think that anyone in the fragrance industry, especially if you're trying to create your own fragrance, you have to know this. And this is an excellent book. She's an excellent perfumer in her own right. And again, highly recommend this book. It's a classic for anyone who's read about fragrance. And this one came out in 2001. So this is maybe I think my oldest book that I have here. And lastly, the copybook classic, The Essence of Perfume by Roja Dove. I mean, this is just, you can see it's a huge hardbound book. All my other ones, almost all of them were paperback. Not all of them, but this is a huge one. This one is a big book that it goes everything right from the beginning of modern perfumery, starting really in the 1800s, detailing the first classics like Fougère Royale to Jicky, to all the classic French houses. This is obviously heavily influenced by French, the classics. But it goes right up to the original. It goes, and he lists what he thinks are the classics all the way from the 1800s up until basically the 2010s. So you're going to see a lot of stuff in here, pictures, bottles. He goes through a whole history of the bottle making, the perfume making, and the pictures, again, are just amazing. Highly recommend this book. It's hard to carry around. I do carry it around with me sometimes in a backpack when I really want to just kind of dive into things. But so there you go. Those are my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. I probably should have done 5, but 6 is actually my lucky number. So those are my 6 books. And the other thing I like to do, is as I'm reading, I take my Moleskine, journal, and I take notes. I take vociferous notes, and as I'm reading, I highlight, I write notes, because as you may have seen in some of my other videos, I am creating my own fragrances that you can see over here. This is my latest. I'm going to actually do a review on this in the next day or two. This is fragrance number 2, which I really like. But the only way I've been able to start even kind of having fun and creating my own fragrances and doing that is by reading these books and learning the history, learning the classics, learning the accords, learning how different notes go together. Obviously, I'm super amateur, but this is fun because you got to start somewhere, and it's fun to learn all this. So anyways, that's my list of books, my recommendations for beginners all the way up to, people who know a lot more than me. If you have any additional books that you would like to comment, please let me know. Anything you think I should read. I've read a bunch of others, but this is what I've compiled my list down for I think people should go out and get their eyes on. If you want to subscribe, please subscribe, guys. I really appreciate it. Keeps me motivated, and I want to keep releasing more content for you guys. And you can like or share or whatever. And I hope everyone's having a great day, and I will talk to you guys soon. This is Joel the Nose. Thank you.